everything made sense. Like it felt like the last puzzle piece.
Right. I love
it's
that.
just
Oh my
like
gosh.
just clicked into place, and I felt happy for the first time in a long time.
Do you have to reach rock bottom to
Yeah.
elevate to get to that point,
Yeah,
right?
it gives you more strength
Yes.
to bounce back.
And now look at you coming back stronger than ever.
Oh yeah, and it's constant shedding from here
Right.
on out. So we can start right here.
Sounds
Hi,
good.
Monica.
Hi, Ani.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually super happy that you came on this podcast.
Me too. I'm excited. It's been so long since we've seen each other.
Yeah.
Feels surreal after COVID, right?
After COVID, yeah, it feels like forever ago. But I remember we met 2015. So this was, 7 years ago?
Wow. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Crazy to think.
I was a freshman in high school, and I was volunteering at, it was like a Christmas event at the park. Do you remember?
Yes, I was Miss Cortzel at the time.
Yeah.
It was
And
an
we have a
event.
photo together. I hope we could pop it up right now. But yeah, that's when we met, and then we just kept in touch this whole time, and we bumped into each other one time at a party.
I remember that.
And that was literally about it. And then I just see you traveling and exploring and finding yourself.
You too, though. I
Yeah.
love that you're doing so many different things and always going out of your comfort zone. So I'm excited to catch up with you.
I know. I need you to talk about everything. Literally all the projects you've been doing.
I'm going to try my best. Just
yes.
spill the beans.
Absolutely. But real quick, I want to mention this podcast. So this would be season 2, episode 1. So you're my first guest of season 2.
I love it.
Season 1 you can find exclusively on YouTube. And that's where I interviewed a few of my friends, actually, talking about the same subject, the same concept of what we're going to talk about today. But it was in 2020. So
Gotcha.
it was during COVID time, and I have no technical skill. So my whole setup was interviewing over Zoom.
Love
and
that.
posting that.
We all got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
And it was a great time. So I wanted to make it, take it to the next level. So welcome to More Than Matter.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. This is where we talk about all things more than matter. This is where we get deep. This is where we talk about our inner childs.
Yes.
And bring out the light that we all possess.
That's amazing.
So to start, I want to talk about your pageants.
Yes, of course.
Because when I met you, you were Miss Cortzel. Where did you go there? Where did you go from after that? I know I saw you go into Miss Irvine. You held that title for a bit, right? I was
about to say that was probably my next title. I had just gotten accepted to UC Irvine, and
I remember.
It was actually my first time ever visiting the campus in July, I believe. I think that was in 2015. So, yeah, right after my Cortzel title. Or I think I still had it, or was around the end of it. Anyway, I was at the Claire Trevor School of Arts, and it was my first time ever stepping on foot of the campus. And when I won, I just thought it just was meant to be. And I had been competing in a lot of other preliminary titles to Miss USA, Miss California, Teen USA. And being able to win Miss Irvine Teen USA really set the ground for my pageant career and made me realize that I was in the right place, and that regardless of the other times that I didn't win, that I was exactly where I needed to be. And it made me feel so much more connected with my campus, UC Irvine, and the city of Irvine in general. And it was amazing being able to represent and really get to know that community better. And I was just thrilled to have that kind of introduction before I even started going to UCI. And I can honestly say that college at UCI was some of the best years of my life. And I'm really grateful that I ended up there.
That's amazing. Honestly, I can say the same about UC San Diego because I think we're doing the same things at the same time.
Right.
So we probably both got into college around the same time too.
Totally.
So yeah, I have a lot of wonderful stories from
I
college.
bet.
But I want to know, like, how did having that title impact you and your experience in school? Was there any, did you get any perks? Did you get any benefits or were you recognized at all?
That's a good question. So it definitely helped as far as my career in the entertainment industry. It was a really great opportunity for me to brand myself, to make those connections with different brands, and to get involved in my community to fundraise and get sponsors for Miss California Teen USA. And I made a lot of great friends and connections at my time at UCI, and being Miss Irvine Teen USA was kind of a segue into a lot of that. And of course, being in pageants is kind of different to people who aren't in that industry. So a lot of times it does come up, and it's really helped me get out of my comfort zone and break through my shell and pursue different things from business and real estate to entertainment, modeling, acting, and even hosting for a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. You do. You have a lot of things that you do that I have seen on your page. How do you balance like that online persona and then your day-to-day, like daily thoughts, daily actions, tasks, routine, like whatever it is? Like, how do you balance?
Yes, I love that you asked me this because I know that social media can be so draining sometimes, and we have this online persona that is only a fraction of who we are in real life. And for me, it's being able to dissociate from that sometimes and taking those much needed social media breaks and really just focusing on grounding myself with a routine. So for me, what's super important is having a daily and morning routine. I always wake up and start off with meditation to really center my thoughts, and it helps me wake up and get out of bed, honestly. And from there, I make sure that I spend time to journal, to read for a little bit, and I usually work out first thing in the morning. So usually it's Pilates or yoga or weightlifting. Mm-hmm. And then I start my day and I have a breakfast and green tea.
Wow. Oh my God. That's amazing. So we have similar beginnings more to the day. I meditate too in the morning, and I journal. Yes. And I also read. But what was I going to say?
We relate so much, I swear.
Yeah. You're right. What time do you wake up for all this? Because it takes me hours to just do what I have to do, you know?
I was about to say, because I wish I was a morning person. Yeah, I have been working on it, and I really am not. And I try really hard. So for me, waking up at 7 or 8 a.m. is like, wow, like I did it. Mm-hmm. I woke up early today, and for the most part I do. And then, you know, there are other days where I sleep in a little bit because I do have kind of a flexible, semi-flexible lifestyle considering what I do for work. So it really depends on what time I go to bed, because I think it's really important to get your full 8 hours of sleep. But yeah, for the most part, I'm usually up by 8 a.m. on average. And I don't, even though I do sleep a good amount because I feel like it's important, I usually never sleep in past 10 a.m. And like, if anything, I take time to have my little morning nap or afternoon nap if I'm really exhausted. But yeah, I would say around 8 a.m. because yeah, it takes like an hour or so to actually get out of bed, do your routine, and be ready for the day.
Yeah. Okay. I feel you. But yeah, you're saying you're not a morning person, but you wake up at 8 a.m. That's strength right there. Honestly,
like,
that's strength.
I wish I was one of those people that could get up at like 5, 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Not there. I mean, maybe if I start going to sleep earlier, but it's a process.
Yeah. No, same here. It's something we'll work on. You know, we brought it to light. It'll
100%.
happen.
It's manifesting.
Yes, it is manifesting. Speaking of manifesting, I love that you said that. What I want to know your experiences with it. You know, like what about synchronicities? You know,
yes,
from cause and effect. Let's start there. Do you believe in that? Let's start there.
Yes, I 100% believe in that. I'm just trying to think of some examples because I feel like it's so uncanny when things really do line up in that way. I mean, honestly, when I won Miss Irvine Teen USA, that was a moment of synchronicity and something that I manifested. And even though it might seem kind of like surface level, like on the outside, I would say a lot of the pageants that I've competed in, like, of course, you don't win every one, but when I do win, it's always because things just matched up and there was synchronicity. Like my last pageant, Miss California, Regency International. I mean, and I've been competing in pageants on and off since I was about 8 years old, but I don't win every single thing. Like, and I don't just have great days every single day. And I think before that pageant, I had competed in maybe, I think, 5 pageants and I didn't win any of those. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I am going to keep doing this. And even though it can be discouraging, you just kind of have to bounce back from that. But it's so interesting because as soon as you are able to kind of like step into that, what would you call it? Kind of like it's definitely a mindset. It's like this energy, right? When you manifest and it's like you have to totally be there. And then it happens.
Isn't it presence?
Presence.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
It feels like you're maybe in the zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, very well said. Because otherwise, I mean, you could just be a tiny bit off and then it'll get your whole energy off, right?
Yeah. Definitely. That's a great topic to get into because how do you like come back from faltering a little bit? You know, like you feel yourself getting a little shaky sometimes. Me, I felt that way very recently. But I was able to get myself together and I put myself together even stronger than I was before.
I love that.
That was like a total, what's the word? Like a shedding.
Like a comeback. Oh, shedding.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it literally feels like I'm a whole new person. And this person is just now living. It's taking its first steps right now. That's the type of energy I feel that I have right now.
Oh yes, I need some of that energy.
No,
okay.
Yes, I mean that's what we're here for. We're here to share and learn and grow. That's all I don't know. That's what excites me really excites me. Constant growth.
Yes.
So I enjoy that. But back to the question, how do you come back? How do you bring yourself back together?
I think it's important to ground yourself. There will be times when you're not feeling really motivated or you're even maybe self-loathing. And I know that for me, I experienced that especially right before I competed in my last pageant, actually, which was about February. And I remember just not having any motivation and finding it difficult to even get out of bed. And for me, I have really found so much help from reading and listening to podcasts such as this one, and really just being able to find my inner voice and remind myself that what I'm going through right now is temporary and to not be so attached to a kind of outcome, but realizing that it's a process and being gentle with myself. But committing to that routine really helps me because if I can at least do that and go through my morning routine, then my days are so much easier. And just having that discipline, I think, really helps you get back into the necessary mindset that you need to be in order to grow and cultivate that space for success.
Love that. But I want to mention there are times where even myself, I find myself in this very, I guess, like a deep place of not even wanting to discipline myself, like not
Right.
even having the energy to be able to do that, you know? And what I've learned from that is it's not always the best to like stay in that state of mind,
Right.
because it just it's more negativity on top of more negativity, so it's like more difficult to get out of. But what has helped me is basically time. I think time heals most things.
Definitely.
Yeah, time allows me to see a different perspective of what I was feeling in the moment. And it's always great to track how you're feeling.
Yes.
So in the morning journals that I do, sometimes I go back and read on a certain date, like how was I feeling
Right.
then? And it gives me a new perspective on my emotions
I love
and
that.
what I was going through and
Helps
what
you
I
process
learned.
them.
Yeah, what I learned from it. Just a bigger, broader point of view, because when you're in that feeling, it's so hard.
Right.
It's so hard to
I totally
see
get it.
other things. You're like blinded by that
Yeah.
emotion. Yeah. But anyway, time. How do you feel about that?
I love that because I know that so many of us are super critical and hard on ourselves. And I think we just need to learn to be more gentle on ourselves and not be upset at ourselves for not being where we
Amen.
thought we would have been at this age or at a certain time in our lives, and to just remind ourselves that it's all happening for a reason, and to continue reminding ourselves of our why and the reason that we get up in the mornings, and to constantly find that time to self-reflect and process those emotions. Because like what you were saying with journaling and really understanding yourself in that bigger perspective, I think so many of us, when we're going through that, funk, a lot of times we don't really understand why we're feeling like that or really understand the source of our feelings, and just being able to process it and break it down. And that really like helps me take a step back and see it from a bird's eye, because then I realize, okay, it's because of a situation or it's because of something that I'm attaching significance to that when I really shouldn't be. That helps me kind of dissociate from that and realize the bigger picture and then snap out of it, right?
Yeah. Beautifully put. Processing emotions. That is a big one. You need to be able to process your emotions. And this is a daily process. It's not even like once in a while. Every day you need to get the junk out. Like the junk emotions. Get it out.
Yes, deposit all that waste.
Yeah. And this is daily. If you skip a day, I feel it, the next day I feel heavier. I feel
it's like
more sluggish.
Digestion, right?
Yeah. Digesting your emotions. Wow.
I like that. It's very
Me
metaphorical.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect. Speaking of all that, do you ever come across like self-doubt? Does it ever pop up? How do you deal with it?
I think so many of us tend to compare ourselves to other people, whether it's because of social media or your line of work. Maybe it's coworkers, friends. For me, a lot of times it's pageants, different competitors, right? And for me, I always remind myself that I just have to take a step back and remind myself of why I love myself and what I offer to the table. And to remind myself that I'm not competing with them, I'm competing with myself. I think so many times we get caught up in seeing if the grass is greener somewhere else, but it's green where you water it. So just reminding yourself to take care of you first. And that is how you're going to step into the person that you're meant to be and show up for yourself and really take yourself to the next level.
Not enough people put emphasis on vulnerability. So being soft has so many benefits to yourself. Being gentle on yourself, you can go so far.
Something I'm learning.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I make sure to remind myself in all ways possible to be soft on myself.
Right.
You know, I got this tattoo of a little heart.
That is so cute.
Yeah, super tiny, you know, so I can like remind myself to use my heart.
Yes.
Use it, you know, like it's been ice cold for so long.
I
use it.
feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes the way you're raised. And I know that you also have like a traditional background. And I think
absolutely
for that reason, we're so hard on ourselves because we have this idea of who we're supposed to be or, you know, a mold that we're supposed to fit. But really, it just, everyone's different. We all have our unique process and journey. And so just reminding ourselves that we're going to get there and really just having that goal and that vision and showing up for yourself and visualizing, meditating, like really getting into that emotion and feeling that, like that's really what's helped me manifest and really come into who I'm trying to be.
Okay, I love that you're saying all this because I have been feeling a lot of powerful visualizations recently. Like I'm actually there to the point where I see the physical, but I'm also seeing what's in my head, like in front of me, in a beautiful, like imaginary concept, you know?
I know it's
so fun.
But, and it can be kind of hard to explain because I totally know what you're talking about because I'm huge on visualizations too. And I know to people that might not be familiar with that, it might kind of sound like
scary, like I'm crazy. Or hallucinations.
Right. Or however you want to perceive that. But I think it's important because I think it's a huge part of the manifesting process because if you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z for whatever it might be, but you don't believe in it, then you're not in that emotional state of being. Yes.
Yeah, you have to believe it in order for it to happen. If you don't believe it, obviously it's not going to happen.
Right. And that's why the emotional part is so important because when you feel like it's possible, you're that much closer to manifesting it. So,
oh my God. I love that because I have what I'm manifesting or what I'm visualizing, I'm not even doing at this point, but I'm going to try to learn how to do it.
Yes.
You know, so I can see where that takes me. But I'm having so much fun just visualizing. What I do, I have a tradition or like a religion that I follow myself. Like every morning I do my journal, meditation, all that. But in the evenings during sunset time, I like to go walking.
Ooh.
And I've been walking longer and longer every day. I've been noticing.
Love that.
So I walk at, oh my God, Mary Kerr Park.
I know,
you know where that is. Yeah, shout out to Palmdale.
For sure. Oh my gosh.
I walk there almost every like sunset time, every day around
Golden
sunset.
hour. I love it.
And I just blast my music.
Yes.
And walk, feel the wind.
Self-care.
I had the urge the other day to hug a tree, so I hugged a tree and just look at nature. It was, I don't know, it's beautiful. And then when the wind picks up, it's very windy in the AV.
Right.
So when the wind picks up, I just feel like I'm floating because I'm in that euphoric, you know, feeling.
That sounds so therapeutic.
It is.
I like your
and
take
I do
on
this
that.
every day. And it's, I can't, it's like I'm giving myself love.
Yes, 100%.
There was this song that was playing, and I had to sit down for it. I don't know why. It's just the music takes me places.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just like let my body do what it wants. So I can walk for hours just because it wants to walk. And when this song came on, I sat down and it bubbled me up with love. Like I was overflowing with the feeling of love so much. I didn't know where to put it.
Right.
I just wanted to give it. I wanted to give it to someone, but I didn't know what to do. So it got to a point where like the song, you know, peaks or whatever, like the climax of the song. And I'm like, okay, like there's no one around me. I'm just going to give it to myself. So this feeling of love during the drop or the hit, whatever of the song.
The melody or,
Yeah. During that moment, I felt like a projection of love. So it came out of me and then it came back into me.
Full circle.
Self-love. And I've never felt that before. So I felt so like...
That sounds so powerful.
I was giving and receiving at the same time.
Yeah.
And it felt amazing because I was giving it to myself. You know, like I didn't have to give it to someone else. I can keep it all to myself.
No, that's important. Because I think so many times we're just draining ourselves and not filling our own cup. So I think that's an amazing visualization. And it sounds like you just transported me there right now. So I'm like, I'm going to have to
love that.
Keep that for myself in the future. Because
and the song, the title of the song is called The Feeling of Love.
Ooh, that hits.
I know.
What are the odds? That is
I'm gonna have to send it to you. Yeah,
yes, please do.
Yeah, it's just perfect. You know, it just all makes sense. But have you ever felt any strong emotions like that?
Ooh, I mean, that sounds pretty hard to top. I mean, but what it reminds me of. So, one of my mentors that has had a huge impact on my life introduced me to mind movies.
Ooh.
And
what is that?
So it's kind of like a vision board, except you can just make it on, I do iMovie. So essentially you pair positive affirmations or basically goals, you know, and you know how a big part of manifesting is saying it like it's already done, right? So you put an affirmation. Like, for example, before I was Miss California Regency International, which was something that I put on my vision board. I put, I will have a state title. And I put a picture when I was crowned Miss Irvine Teen USA. And I don't know if you've seen it somewhere on my page, but I had the happy tears kind of face because when I think about visualizing that moment, and even when I look back on the titles that I have won, like I am so overjoyed with emotion, just extremely happy and just like exhausted because of the work it takes to get to that point that I'm just filled with tears of happiness. And so when I am going through like my daily visualizations, affirmations, I think of that moment and it literally brings me to tears like almost every time with no doubt. And so I put that on my mind movie, which is like a moving vision board, if you want to call it that for lack of a better term. But it really helps you get into that emotional vibration and state of being to help you manifest that moment. And so whenever I am looking at my mind movie, I'm experiencing those different emotions, and it really helps you get into that feeling of already having it.
Okay. Wow. That is something I can definitely try out.
Yes. Yeah, I highly recommend.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. We'll have to teach me about it.
Yeah, definitely. I could show you an example. Yes, exactly. I know it sounds kind of kooky, but no, it definitely works. And
on this podcast, we believe in everything.
Yes.
Okay. We believe it all.
These are my kind of people then.
Yeah.
I resonate
we believe
with
it because you say it, right?
Right.
You say it, you create it. So why would I not believe it?
Exactly. No, it's happening.
Why wouldn't I? Because you're telling me, sure, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it. Like, I have similar experiences. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, this is why we're having this conversation in the first place. Because we're on that same like wavelength.
Yeah. I love it. This is what I love to talk about. Okay. One of my questions was, how did it feel to be crowned? Like, what was that moment? Can you describe it to us?
It felt unreal. I just remember kind of right before that moment, you're anxious, right? You're in that top 5 with the last few contestants. You're getting eliminated and narrowed down. And I remember feeling that anticipation and reminding myself that whatever happens, I'm not a failure and I'm not a loser. I'm just gaining experience and learning. And so I remember when they were right about to announce who the winner was, just telling myself that no matter what happens, I'm going to be proud of myself. And when they said that it was me, I was shocked, but also it felt right. Like it felt like it was meant to be.
Mhm.
And so I cried. I mean, I feel like regardless if I win or lose, I am so overwhelmed with emotion each competition that I compete in that I do get emotional. And, you know, whether I'm crying on or off stage, I think it's important to feel those emotions and to honor them and not to be ashamed of them, but to know that it's okay to feel that. And sometimes it's kind of an accomplishment to be able to feel things so deeply, because I remember that there was a time in my life that I was so numb and apathetic that I did not feel and I did not cry for a long period of time. So I think at that moment, I just felt so proud of myself and so overwhelmed with joy and so in sync with myself. And it was a really powerful moment.
Yeah, I feel it. How does the crown feel? Like
it can sometimes dig into your head, but I mean, it sometimes messes with your hair, but it's more of a symbol. And a lot of my appearances, like I prefer sometimes a lot of times to not even wear the crown because it's more of the title and what it represents. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's just a crown on your head. But for me, it's more so the impact, and it's a tool and utility to give back to others, to share your voice and to empower others.
Yes. Can we get into that?
Yes.
What do you use your platform for?
Yeah, so my platform is empowering foster youth. As a former foster youth myself, I recently spoke at an event for an organization called Adventures to Dream, which is an enrichment program for underprivileged children from the ages of 4 to 14. And it was really inspiring for me to be able to share my story and to connect with youth and young women that are going through positions that I was once in. And more than anything, I use my title to show others that no matter where you come from, you don't have to be limited by your circumstance. And you have the power to create your own destiny and to transform your life.
How do you translate that message to such like young kids? Like, or are they easier to speak to in that in that sense?
I love that you asked me that, because I was kind of nervous to share my story with them, because I wanted to keep it lighthearted since they're young. I didn't want to get too dark, but I also wanted to shed light on something that's very much a reality for those who are dealing with extreme poverty. And so for me, I kind of touched a little bit as far as like the background of being in foster care and not having a stable home, and at one point being homeless, failing English, which is my last name, and really just hitting rock bottom, but reminding them that it was just a phase of my life. It was just temporary, and I was still able to bounce back from that. I was able to graduate from college at UC Irvine despite missing, I think, 11 weeks of school my freshman year, having to temporarily drop out of high school, but still being able to finish strong and raise my GPA to 4.8 my senior year of high school. So focusing on more of the positives, but showing them that it's a reality and reminding them that your vulnerability is a strength and it is a power. It's just, you need to remind yourself to not dwell on the bad, but to transform it, to transform your pain into power, and to know that you can accomplish anything. I mean, I went from being a misfit and a rebel, a degenerate, to graduating when only 3% of former foster youth obtain a 4-year degree. And I have had the blessing of holding titles such as Miss California, Regency International, Miss Long Beach, Miss Quartz Hill, and Miss Irvine. And I know it's for me, it's more symbolic, but I've gone on to do a lot of things that have been special to me and help me empower others.
That's very powerful. Yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that when I grow up and be like you.
Oh, you're so funny. I want to be like you, Ani.
Aww.
You're so cute.
Thank you. I feel like I'm just now finding that, like,
it's a
what
process.
you went through. Yeah, I think you were young when you went through all that.
Right.
My dark hole, or, what do you call it?
Hitting rock bottom.
Rock bottom. There we go. My rock bottom happened like 2019. It happened in college. Like, it was a spiral college, best time, but also worst time.
Oh my gosh. I know. That was a crazy time.
Yeah. And then like after graduating, that's when I was like, oh, is it like, is this going to be it? This whole, like, is it going to be like this? I don't want it to be like that. So it's just like, got worse and worse. And I had physical pains too. So I hurt myself in college weightlifting.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had a herniated disc, and I didn't know until like 2 years later when I had like a job.
Oh my gosh.
I had an actual job, 8 to 5, I should say.
Wow.
And I couldn't get into work because I couldn't put my foot on the ground. Like, it was that amount of pain. Like, my back pain was causing me not to be able to walk. Like, it was that intense. So I crawled to work regardless, because that's just the type of person that I was. And my coworkers found me on the ground, basically, because I was in so much pain. I couldn't stand up. So I was just like kneeling on the ground.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was bad. So they told me to go to emergency. So I'm like, fine, I'll go. So I went. They gave me like a steroid shot. They gave me so many drugs. Here's the thing. I was in bed after that moment for the next 2 months waiting for surgery. So, yeah, my surgery was supposed to be 4 months in advance, like from the day that I like
that happened.
Asked. Yeah, basically from the day that happened. But thankfully, 2 months in, I got a call saying there's an opening, we can take you in. But during that whole 2-month process, oh my God, I was in severe pain. Okay, the level where they're like 0 to 10, I would be like, it's a 25. Like, it's intense. I couldn't do anything, but no one believed me either. Like, I had all the symptoms except one, and that one symptom was like the pre-qualification, I guess, to get immediate emergency surgery. Seriously? So instead, I had to wait.
Oh my
And that one, what is it? Symptom was losing control of your bladder. So that's what I had to. That would have had to happen to me in order for me to get like emergency.
So definitely surgery. Severe. Wow,
oh yeah, I was in so much pain. I was in pain 24/7. That's all I knew. All I knew was pain, and all I knew was anger. So obviously that lingered.
Right.
That lingered in my mindset because it happened for so long.
For sure.
I was angry at everything. I was mad at everything. Like, that's the point where I lost most of my friends. Like, everybody around me that I thought were friends vanished. But it was like I was causing it. I had no one to blame but me. But I couldn't see that at that point. I was just full of anger.
Right.
So when I realized my body was healing, but not my mind, I noticed a disconnect. And this was the first time I've ever seen or recognized something like that, that there's something off. Like, my body does not correlate with my mindset right now. Because my body's healing, but my mind is still pretty dark place to be. So I listened to a interview with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Do you know who he is? I
love him.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with him.
I watched his interview with a man named George something.
Okay.
It's an amazing interview.
He's super profound.
Yes, absolutely. 4 minutes into that interview, he was talking about, his back pains he was ran over by a truck basically during a marathon.
I didn't know that. Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's what caused him to the doctor said he wouldn't be able to walk again,
Right.
but I think he like just visualized healing for the next like 11 weeks, and he healed himself. Like he healed his shattered back.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Defied
back
those
together.
odds.
And
Wow.
I was literally recovering from back surgery, right? When I watched this video.
That is synchronicity.
And 4 minutes in, everything made sense. Like it felt like the last puzzle piece.
Right.
I
love
it's
that.
just
Oh my
like
gosh.
just clicked into place, and I felt happy for the first time in a long time. Like I felt
That is amazing.
euphoria. Like I call that my awakening, because that's the day that everything changed.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, that's the day I looked towards the light.
It's crazy because sometimes you have to reach rock bottom to elevate, to get to that point, right?
It gives you more strength.
Yes.
To bounce back.
And now look at you coming back stronger than ever.
Oh yeah, and it's constant shedding from here on out. Like, yeah, that was a dark place, but the darkness now, like I'll feel equal to the light. Like it's going to be up and downs from here on out. I mean, I went through something very recently too, and that's what caused my shedding very recently. But you know, nothing will compare to that first time. That first time is always going to be like, if I can get through that, I can get through anything.
Yes, you can. Amen to that.
That happened to me, so I can recover from anything. Yeah.
That's how I felt in a different sense.
Yeah.
But situationally, when I was in foster care going through dozens of different homes to dropping out and being homeless for a little bit, it made me realize that I could handle anything. And it made me realize that I have a high pain tolerance, but it's what we do after that when we bounce back. Yeah. And so I'm grateful for that experience. As tough as it was, it made me who I am. And it sounds the same with you. It makes you that strong individual.
Yeah.
It gives you perspective.
I don't feel bad for anything. Any of it, you know, like it's what's given me strength, and it's what's made me who I am today. Even the mistakes that I make here and there, even now, like
it's inevitable, right?
Yeah, of course, we're human. Yes. We make mistakes. Like
it happens.
It happens.
Always.
I don't feel bad for it. I learn from it.
Exactly. As long as you learn from it. Yeah.
I see everything in that lens. I see everything as a learning opportunity.
Always learning and growing.
Even if it doesn't make sense in the moment.
Never stop learning.
Yeah.
And especially after graduating college, because I don't know if you experienced this, but for me, after I was a graduate, of course, you go through that moment where you're proud and happy and excited to be done. Confused. And then you're confused. And then you're going through that limbo where you're like, am I in the right spot?
Yeah.
And then you get really metaphysical and start questioning everything, right? And
it's because I think we were just put into college right after high school. So we...
Right. You didn't have time to...
Exactly. We didn't have time to think. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I think that's a good point. And I mean, I don't regret it. I'm thankful for all the experiences. But if I would have known that I'm going to be pursuing what I'm pursuing now, which has nothing to do with my degree. And I mean, even though I use my degree every day and I feel like it has helped me consider life on a much grander and worldly perspective, I didn't need a college degree to become a real estate agent or pursue modeling and acting and music. So it's interesting how things happen. But I gained a whole new network of people who were essential to my journey. And it all happened the way it needed to. And I had the opportunity to study abroad and connect with my roots. And for me, I think, because obviously college isn't for everyone, but for me, and part of my platform as a former foster youth who didn't know if I was going to have access to a higher education, is making sure that we can provide those resources to those who are underprivileged, who have gone through foster care or have experienced extreme poverty and are minorities a lot of the time, but giving them the option and the access to pursuing a higher education or their choice of career.
Yeah.
Because we all deserve to have that opportunity, like that higher quality of life. And we get so much of that through traveling, through having these experiences that we wouldn't have otherwise if it wasn't for the way things happen, right?
Yeah, I agree. College I think it was just ingrained into my childhood.
Exactly. Same
I
here.
had to go to college.
Right.
It was like necessary for me, even though I don't really, and you don't really need it. It was just
exactly. It's a status or prestige factor, but for me, it was so much more about who it shaped me into and the experience and the journey through those 4 years and who I was becoming and what I was learning and unlearning. I really love Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, because that's what I've been going through constantly, is being told that you need to be this person from literally birth, and then kind of undoing it and realizing that you're so much more than that, and that you need to have that safe space to grow and to become who you're actually meant to be. So, yeah, I mean, I loved my time at UCI and the people that it introduced me to, but it was so much more the journey and the experience and really the failures. And like that first year adjusting was pretty crucial because subconsciously I was kind of repeating that same pattern when I was in foster care, because it was also my first year of high school where I was bouncing around. And so I think that first year of college, I must have lived in like 5 or 6 different apartments.
Wow.
Just kind of bouncing around and having different roommates. And it was very similar to, you know, my foster siblings, right? And just, of course, sharing rooms and apartments with multiple people because I couldn't afford to have my own space, right? And being on a budget and learning how to adult, right? So just kind of going through the same process, just in a different place and having a
cycles.
It was a cycle, but of course I was like, it was a different level, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
My lifestyle was drastically better.
Yeah.
And I had this quality of life that I never had before, but going through that same cycle, right? And realizing that I had to get out of that and find stability for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really big thing. I see
Such
life.
a theme. Recurring theme.
Yeah, I see life as like a like a spiral. Yes.
Roller coaster.
So you can see, like, let's say there's a spiral. You're on this side and you're looking down, right? You can see the same cycle repeating in different like aspects of your life, different versions, different like in the past, you know, going back into your childhood, like it's stemmed from somewhere, right? So I think that's wonderful to be able to see it. And then I think once you awareness. I think once you bring awareness to it, like naturally it will heal itself. You don't need to do anything. Like you can make better choices from here on out, like different, whatever it is that you need to do. But just being aware of it is already it's so powerful.
I completely agree. Yeah. That's powerful. And I think that trajectory of whatever we're comparing, whether it's a lifetime or adulthood, adolescence, or whatever, but realizing that it fluctuates and there's different points. But being able to evaluate that whole trajectory of a lifetime, let's say, is important, because I think when we're going through those difficult times, we're hyper-focused and magnifying on one point in time that's temporary and that's not reflective of our entire life, of the good and the bad. So, and I think it's natural to focus on the bad sometimes, like too much, right? And that's why gratitude and reflection and reminding yourself of all the good is so imperative to being able to stay in that state of being, right?
Yeah, that's the power of duality, dark and light.
Yes.
It's a balance. You need
Right.
both.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, they won't exist, you know? There's no light without dark. No
Yin
dark
and
without
yang.
light.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Real quick,
Ooh.
I want to pull this out.
Been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, me too. So this is a deck of cards. All right.
I love it.
It is a therapy toolkit for self-exploration. And
Ooh.
this is the type of stuff I love. You know, this is just, I like digging into the brain. So I'm going to have you just pick a card. I guess
Wow. Okay.
whatever card that calls
They're also
you.
beautiful. I
There's
know.
a lot. There's a lot of cards.
Right.
And then we'll talk about it.
Let's see. It's meant to be.
Okay.
Resilience. Oh my gosh. I am
Great.
dead because, you know,
We were just talking about that.
we were just talking about that. And, you know, my platform, it was kind of a mouthful before because resilience, guys, this is insane.
I literally have that written down somewhere.
I used to call, so I was part of an organization at UC Irvine called Fire Scholars, FYRE, foster youth resilience and education. So
Wow.
that was my platform, fostering resilience in education and careers. And that is a huge notion that I focus on because we have to persevere to achieve greatness in anything. Wow. Should I read this or do you want to read it?
No,
Do you wanna have
go
it on yours?
ahead.
I'm like,
You read it.
wow. Resilience experiences. From the process of birth to the sensations of hunger, tiredness, and pain, infants, children in the proverbial stage under the age of 2, experience uncertainty and fear. With the right amount of love and nurturing, they learn how to survive these stressful feelings, engaging their capacity for resilience and laying the foundation for dealing with stress and unpredictability in the future. How do you think the care you received in infancy shaped how you deal with stress and uncertainty today? Did you spend time away from your mother and father due to illness or otherwise? Did your parents go through traumas during pregnancy, birth, or your infancy? Think about the coping strategies and defense mechanisms you use in difficult situations today. Do you find healthy ways to alleviate stress, or do you engage in more negative patterns, like emotionally retreating, aggressively acting out, or succumbing to addictions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, that's why I love these cards.
Wow, I am just still mind blown because
Yeah.
I'll have to show you another time because I don't have it with me, but I have a deck of cards. It's a little bit more basic than these. They're just words on each one. But I swear, I try and get into a habit of pulling one and then writing it down in my planner or my journal and just kind of reflecting on that and kind of seeing what it means for me that day. But a lot of times, like, our minds are so powerful. A lot of us just have no idea like how true that is because I'll be thinking of something like, okay, I have to go to work, you know, back then when I actually had like an office job, right? I remember thinking about that, right? And then pulling a card that said environment or something, right? And just like realizing that there's this really deep connection and correlation between our mind and our reality and our environment. And that's why the negative thoughts like really show in our reality, you know, versus positive and really just being able to water yourself and allow yourself to really enjoy your reality. So, wow.
Yeah, very important.
Resilience.
That you love life. I think.
Yes. And that you want to love it because a lot of us just want to stay stuck in that pattern. And that's why I love reminding myself of how resilient I am in nature and you too. I mean, just hearing about what you've gone through, like, and at that time, like thinking you're not going to get out of it, right?
Yeah, I thought I was going to die.
Oh my gosh.
It was that dark. Like I couldn't see anything around me. Like couldn't find any help anywhere. Not that I was looking anywhere anyway because I was so angry.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a real like dark time. And it was so real that, you know, it felt like nothing else could be true. But I don't know. Something happened. Life was like, nah, got something better planned for you. Just stick through it. You know, just
Exactly.
go
Keep
through it.
going. Keep going.
Keep going. Oh my God, was it like Steve Harvey who said, the
That
only
sounds
reason
like
you're
something he
in,
would say.
he said something like, if you're in hell, keep going, because why would you want to stop there? Like,
Ooh,
feel it, you know?
yes.
Just keep going through it.
Exactly. Yeah. Why would you stop?
Yeah, exactly. Keep going.
That's such an important reminder.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen. And even after you get out of it, there's going to be something else that comes up, right?
Yeah.
So just recognizing that there are going to be those moments of discomfort, but knowing how to handle them. And I think going back to the worst or the most difficult times that we have experienced this far, and just it's a testament to what we're capable of.
Yeah. We're capable of so much.
Oh, yeah.
So much power that we're not harnessing as a civilization, I should say. As a whole
powerful
community, we have so much power. And what's good is that, I mean, I'm doing this to find more people like me, you know, to create a community of like-minded people.
Yes,
this is why you're here.
I love it.
So if we ever go through anything difficult, like, we know we have someone to talk to, you know, like,
yes. And there's a way
high
out.
level. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's why I love listening to podcasts, like on my way to somewhere, like driving, or especially for road trips where you're just trying to, you know, it's kind of therapeutic sometimes, right? Just kind of listening to someone else's voice and having that guidance just helps center you, and to know that you're not alone and there are other people that are going through what you're going through.
Yeah. And I'm very open and blunt because I just say it how it is. So I love answering questions and getting to know other perspectives. So this is just, I don't know, this is like a dream for me. Like a dream come true.
Yeah, no, this is very therapeutic and healing, and I'm very thankful that you invited me to be here today.
What I want. Thank you for being here. I want you to talk about, you know, what you do, how people can find you.
Yes,
you know?
Of course.
Plug yourself.
Yes. So I am not just a pageant girl, but also an artist, performing artist, model, actor, and realtor, entrepreneur. And you can find me on Instagram, my personal, Miss Monica English, and Monica English Realtor, as well as Long Beach Travel. So feel free to follow me, Monica English, on TikTok, which I'm trying to grow right now. And yeah, I'd love to be connected with you if you ever want to reach out to me. I love meeting new people, and I'm always looking to expand my circle.
Yeah, same here. Same here. But before we go, I wanted to talk about the sponsor of this video. So this, since this is the first episode, I am the sponsor. So I have something to give you. So
so sweet.
I like design clothes. So this is a tank top that I spray painted, basically.
Wow, that is so trippy. You're very talented.
Exactly. I want it to be trippy. I want it to be a little like off. You know what I mean? Just like something different. That's the vibe that I'm going for. And the brand of it that I'm calling it is called Loner's Wardrobe.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
So it's just going to be all like spray painted clothing. And I have some designs too that are out that I will definitely be posting about by the time this episode is up.
I am obsessed.
So that's for you.
That is so sweet. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you, Ani. I love that. This is so beautiful. Like,
thank you.
I'm excited to wear this.
All right. Thank you again for being here.
Of course. It was a pleasure.
Thanks.